Okay, so welcome everyone, and my name is Carmel, as most of you know, and welcome to everybody. So let's just arrive, and really, what does that mean to arrive? You know, you might say, "Oh, I'm here," but actually, are you? Just take notice of where your attention is resting at the moment, and if you've had a busy morning so far, you might find that your attention is still there, or your attention might be getting ready for something this evening. So, you know, gently noticing where your attention is. So your body has shown up, which is fantastic. But just kind of bringing your attention, if you like, and dropping anchor into the body now. And welcoming yourself into this space. Welcoming yourself into this virtual mindfulness community that has been meeting for many years, 2.5 years online and many years before this in South Circular Road. And people come and go, and that's the whole idea. Drop in and come and go. It's wonderful, absolutely. And for those of you in hospital or wherever you are, make sure you're so welcome. Make sure you're comfortable, warm enough, you have a blanket near you, and that you have as much privacy as possible for this short time. And don't put any pressure on yourself about how this practice should go. Just you're here, and that's all you need to. It's all you need. You've shown up. No other pressure. You've arrived. You're joining this virtual mindfulness community this afternoon. So as I said earlier, camera on or off, no problem, whichever. Sitting, standing, lying, whatever fits, but make sure your body feels supported. You have a blanket near you if the body cools down. And maybe just asking yourself, you know, what brought me here this afternoon? What might I want from this practice? And you don't have to have an answer, but it can be interesting just to put out the question or the query. What brought me here this afternoon? What might I need? And then just kind of noticing your mood this afternoon, how you're doing. As you rest here, as you arrive, just asking yourself, how am I doing? Kind of taking this pause to come into mindful awareness. And we kind of gently do that with the intention of not bringing judgment with it, or this is how you should be at the beginning of this practice, and this is how you should feel at the end of this practice. No. It's just, how am I right now, with no condition on the answer. So this sense of meeting yourself as you are here now, and the challenging bits, the pleasant bits, the neutral bits, just all of who you are, all of who we are. So I'm just gently still letting people in. And so just coming into our body. If you can feel your feet touching whatever they're touching. And you know, my guidance is just that. Any part of my guidance that doesn't make sense to you, you can just let it go and stay with the part that does. So I'll be offering guidance, but you don't have to stick to it if it doesn't fit for you. So just having a sense of how it feels to be in your body this afternoon. Feeling the sensations in the body, perhaps, and noticing maybe how we're holding our body here now. Is there any tightness anywhere, or clenching of the fists, maybe softening of the hands, resting into the shoulders, dropping the shoulders, maybe if there's any hunching, softening into the jaw, maybe by releasing the lips if they're kind of closed tightly, or the teeth clenched, softening around the eyes, imagining or visualizing muscles around the eyes softening, resting. And just noticing the breath moving through the body. No need to do anything about it, but just noticing that we're breathing. That's all. The breath that gives us life. And anything in your environment that you have no control over, just let it be. Just coming back to ourselves. I'm just going to read you a poem to bring us into this space called Just for Now by Dana Falls. Just for now, without asking how, let yourself sink into stillness. Just for now. Lay down the weight you so patiently bear upon your shoulders. Feel the earth receive you and the infinite expanse of the sky grow even wider as your awareness reaches up to meet it, just for now. Allow the wave of breath to enliven your experience. Breathe out whatever blocks you from the truth, just for now. Be boundless, free, with awakened energy tingling in your hands and feet. Drink in the possibility of being who and what you really are. So fully alive that the world looks different, newly born and vibrant. Just for now. Just for now, coming into your own presence. What does that mean? Coming into your own presence. It invites us into a space of awareness. When that time-traveling mind of ours wanders off, that we notice that and we gently bring it back. Becoming aware of the body, becoming aware of our breath, becoming aware of our senses, thoughts, emotions, without any agenda of trying to change it or do anything or be anything, just for now. So there's a sense of permission giving to ourselves, to allow ourselves to just be here without any expectations, no pressure, just let it go, just for now. So as best we can, arriving into this body of ours, and there may be parts of the body for some of us that's unwell or going through treatment, and just being aware of the different sensations that are around as you come into contact with the direct physicality of our body, with kind of an ease and any sense of pressure, feeling you don't want to focus on one part of the body, that's totally fine. Sometimes it's as much as we can do is to feel our hands touching our lap or our feet touching our mat or surface. And that's perfectly fine. So as best you can, maybe just being aware of the parts of your body that are in contact with your bed or your sofa or your chair. And kind of experiencing that contact, kind of allowing your body to kind of be, if you like, support it. You know, so when we breathe in and then when we breathe out, we might just kind of, you know, you're all on mute and just kind of breathing in and as you're breathing out, that sense of release. And as you release that, you allow the body to sink into your chair even more or into your bed or sofa. So breathing in and maybe taking another breath, like the release, the letting go, the soothing breath. Nothing is forced, but we're just giving the out breath a little bit of sound. And what that helps to do is it helps to soothe us. It calms the nervous system a little and it helps the mind to steady somewhat. And if that invitation makes sense, try it. And if it doesn't, you don't need to. So just taking care of yourself through this practice is really important. So just working with whatever fits for you. Maybe noticing the sensations of the body when we breathe in and when we breathe out. Maybe feeling the belly expanding on the in-breath and the releasing and letting go on the out-breath. And if anyone has breathing difficulties or you don't want to focus on the breath, just come back to feeling the feet touching whatever they're touching, or hands touching the lap. Sometimes placing a hand on the belly and connecting with the body here can bring us into a gentle contact with our bodies. And we can also sometimes feel the breath here too. But nothing is forced. If your mind is extremely busy and preoccupied or anxious, just being aware of that, noticing that. And maybe just even that act of noticing when your mind time travels or is like a puppy dog goes racing off. Really gently, patiently and kindly as best as you can. Maybe just bringing it back to the here and now of the body, the breath. Noticing just the difference in the body's movements when we breathe in and when we breathe out. Noticing if we're breathing through our nose or our mouth, the expansion of the ribs on the in-breath and the lungs, and the resting back on the out-breath. And again, just taking those kind of little moments to notice when the attention has become distracted and gone off, careering off into tomorrow or yesterday. The attention finds it very hard to stay present, so that's why we use the age-old practice of anchors, anchor points, using the body, the breath, because they're here now. If we're focused on our body and physically in our breath, we are here. But there's also the option of focusing on our senses. So, for example, you might become aware of the texture of fabric as it touches your skin. There may be a soft blanket near you that feels soft to the touch and quite soothing. There may be, I know some of you have pets, and stroking that soft fur can be very soothing. That sense of touch and connection. So our senses connect us to the outside world. We tend to take them for granted, and only when they're challenged do we realize their significance and how important they are to us. Maybe noticing any lingering sense of taste that may be around from your lunch or a cup of tea or coffee that may be still there that you're noticing. So we can also anchor in our senses, because our senses are also here now. We can become aware of giving sound our attention. The sense of sound. Perhaps it's my voice, sounds in your room, sounds outside your space, maybe more distant sounds. Maybe expanding your field of awareness to include sound. And no need to worry about what the sound is, but just noticing the pitch of sound, the quality of sound, the tone of sound. And inviting yourself to curiously kind of take a moment to give that kind of direct contact with sound your full attention. mind wanders, bringing it back to hearing. And if in your space there's a lot of distance or a lot of silence, you might just be aware of kind of the silence, the quiet. And then when sounds pick up again. Mind wanders, and maybe bringing it back to direct contact with anchoring in the present moment through sound. And then just broadening out again, anyone with their eyes open can be aware of the quality of light in your room. Picture, photograph, a plant, flower, color of the walls, visuals, a gift of sense of sight also brings us here. Sometimes when we're a little bit anxious or worried, and it's too much to close our eyes, to open them and be aware of our surroundings can be very soothing, and it can help reduce our anxiety. So don't feel that the only way you can be quiet is to close your eyes. Sometimes that just does not work if you're very anxious. So being aware that you can use the if you like, the connection with the space you're in for comfort to bring you into the here and now is just as useful as focusing on the body with our eyes closed, or focusing on sound can be very helpful. Maybe just expanding awareness to include your mood this afternoon, just how your internal weather is doing. How are you? Just asking the question, how am I? How am I doing this afternoon? And as we know, that can change from hour to hour, sometimes moment to moment. And there's no right or wrong. There's no way you should be feeling. It's just how it is right now. The pleasant, the unpleasant, and the neutral. It's all here in this human field of awareness. Being aware of your thoughts, what thoughts want to kind of take you off somewhere and linger with them, hang out with them, fall into the stream of thinking, noticing that. And that's just really great that we can be aware what thoughts are around, and then we can let them go. We can use these anchor points I'm referring to help us to allow ourselves to kind of fine tune our attention, to give our minds rest, to allow our mental health to calm down a little, to cultivate inner resilience, if you like. So just coming back to the body, I'll guide us through the different parts, just for those who'd like to stay with the guidance. Otherwise, you can use the senses to be present. And don't worry if you're very tired and you're falling asleep and waking up, it means that your body needs the rest. But for those who are following through with the guidance, maybe just becoming aware of sensations in your feet. Feeling the tips of your toes, just sensing into each toe in turn. Even just the spaces between the toes. What sensations are here? And perhaps some toes you can't feel at all, or there's numbness, or there's tingling. But just maybe bringing a curiosity to that. Heat or neutral. Kind of sensing into the backs of our feet, the soles, the ball of the foot, the arch, the heel, whatever our feet are touching. So really coming into direct contact with this part of our body, bringing us into the here and now. The mind wanders, we notice time travels, and we may choose to gently bring it back if we wish to. Noticing the front of our feet, the instep, the bones, the sensations at the ankles, noticing what our feet are touching. Is it a soft surface or a bit hard or neutral? Just what it kind of feels like, texture of fabric underneath your feet. Kind of curling the toes a little and noticing just all those little joints and muscles and bones that allows for our toes to wriggle, and micro movements that we don't even notice sometimes. So kind of giving our body as much attention that feels okay for us as we can, shining that spotlight of awareness, that spotlight of presence toward ourselves. And maybe just inviting the breath through the lungs and imagining the breath going straight to our feet and nourishing our feet and our toes with oxygen, and breathing back up again. Breathing into the feet and breathing back again. And just checking in with where you are at the moment, where the attention is, and bringing it back if you wish to, and you're following with me in the guidance, just noticing sensations in the lower legs, the calf muscles touching whatever they're touching, sensing whatever you sense here directly. So we're not thinking about the body, we're feeling it directly if that feels okay. There might be some parts that doesn't feel okay if there's pain or discomfort. So when it becomes too much, you can focus on other part of the body that's not uncomfortable. Noticing perhaps the front of our lower limbs, the shin bone, the sides of our legs, lower legs. And just kind of, is there a blanket over your legs so you can feel the weight of it, or is the air contacting your skin here? Fabric, clothes. Just what does that feel like? Just simply noticing. You'll be aware that our mind wants to kind of take us off somewhere else. Finds it hard to just stay here. We're so used to zipping off in our head to other places and spaces, and that's part of the human conditioning. We all share that. So that practice of bringing it back is a really great training to stabilize our attention and to take some charge of our inner world. And maybe just becoming aware of the knees, the knee joints, the back, the sides, the front. And noticing whatever sensations are here. Pains or aches or twinges, or being aware of what the knees are touching at the back maybe. And again, kind of offering the nourishment of the breath here as you rest. The knee joints that gives us so much mobility, and we know that as we get older there can be pains and aches, and just being aware of just whatever sensations you're noticing in your knees right now. And just bringing that awareness through to the upper legs, the thigh muscles, being aware of what the backs of the legs are touching. Just this kind of weight of these very long, strong muscles. And just what sensations come to your attention here. And then maybe just zooming out and becoming aware of your left leg and foot, and the entire right leg and foot. And just imagine that you're breathing through both your legs and your feet. Allowing the surface to take their weight. Noticing just the general sensations moving through your limbs, your lower limbs. And taking a moment to notice where your attention is right now. And just gently being aware of where it's maybe traveled to, past or future. Noticing what's pulling it away, if you will. And just bringing it back if you wish to. Exercising free will as to where we place our attention. And that will come and go. It's when we're new to the practice, it's hard to keep the attention focused on different parts of the body or the breath or the senses without the mind wandering off again. Sometimes you'll feel boredom in this practice because the mind is so used to the stimulus of looking at your phone or the internet. So just to be here without doing anything but being present to what is arising in the body and the breath and so on can be difficult. So be gentle with yourself. So bringing awareness to the pelvic area, the hip joints, the buttocks, pubic area, pubic bones, and just feeling the weight of your pelvis resting here and any particular sensations. Hip joints, sacroiliac joints. Just breathing through the pelvis. These bones and muscles that support the pelvic floor and the pelvic organs. Allow for movement of our external body. Noticing any twinges or aches in the hip joints or not. Any tension anywhere or not. No right or wrong, just how it is. So mindful awareness is meeting ourselves as we are, just as we are. And that can be hard. Sometimes we want to change things, we wish it could be different, and to take these moments to not do that, to just be here, resting in how we are. Can be a relief, but also sometimes it can be challenging. So however it is the way it is right now. Maybe becoming aware of the spinal cord, the lower spine, what it's touching, supporting your spine, middle spine, upper spine. Kind of imagining the breath moving up and down the spine. Noticing in the middle spine, the ribs at the back, protecting the lungs, expanding when we breathe in, and the breathing muscles, breathing in and breathing out with the lungs. Maybe noticing the movement of the breath at the belly area. Also being aware of sensations at the wall of the belly or the abdominal wall. Awareness of the busyness of all the organs in this part of our body. And just how this part of your body feels right now. For some, there may be pain or discomfort. Others may feel very pleasant. For others, neutral. Just noticing the movement of the breath, however subtle or obvious it is here at the belly, breathing in and breathing out. Noticing the breath at the lungs, just how it is to breathe here. Bringing the attention back if it's wandered, noticing where it's wandered to. Noticing sensations around the upper chest and the shoulders. Are the shoulders tight? Are they hunched? Is there any tension at the back of the neck as the spine meets the skull? Are we supporting the back of our neck enough so that there isn't too much strain at the discs? And noticing just the movement of the breath at the shoulders, the spaces between the shoulders, and noticing sensations under our arms, our armpits, and down through the arms to the hands, to the fingers, spaces between the fingers, tips of the fingers, the palms of the hands, the knuckles at the backs of the hands, the sides of our hands. Noticing what they're touching. Is it soft, or is the texture hard, or are we touching a chair or our lap or a blanket? And being aware of that experience of contact, this connection with our outside world through the senses. Noticing how we're holding our arms. Are they tense or tight, or can we let them go a little bit even more? Sensations from the wrist to the elbow, from the elbow to the shoulders, the upper arms, the sides of our arms. Breathing through the arms to the tips of the fingers and back again. And when our attention wanders, as it will, well done for noticing. And then you can decide if you want to bring it back to dropping anchor in the present moment with whatever anchor point you choose. Right now, I'm focusing on the body and the breath, but you may choose to stay with sounds or visuals or touch. So remember, there's always choice. Nothing is forced. Breathing through the throat area, aware of sensations here and at the jaw. Moving into the face, the breath at the mouth, the breath at the sinuses, the nostrils, the muscles of the cheeks, muscles around the eyes, space between the eyebrows. And of course, all around this area, we have our senses of taste and smell and hearing and sight. And just being aware of the activity of this part of our body at the face. And kind of being aware of imagining in the privacy of our own space that we can soften those muscles, soften the jaw. Even if your eyes are closed, kind of just imagine that you're kind of forming a half smile inside your body. No one would particularly notice it, but you can kind of sense the softening around the eyes. Softening of the forehead. The flow of the breath through the sinuses. Is there any blockage or obstruction, or is it easy to breathe here? And again, you know, for anyone who's feeling anxious and finding it hard to focus, sometimes just counting 4 seconds on the in-breath and 6 seconds on the out-breath can just help to give an extra anchor to our attention, to hold it in this moment. This allows our attention to rest and our brain to quieten just a little. Be bringing awareness to our head, noticing the back of the head touching our pillow if we're lying down, or head resting lightly on the neck and shoulders if we're sitting. And whatever sensations we notice here in the scalp, skull, the brain, the top of our head, the back of our head, right down to the neck area, to the sides where our ears are. And perhaps maybe just zooming out now and kind of experiencing our body just in its fullness, in its entirety, rather than just the different parts, but really sensing into our entire body from the top of our head to the tips of our toes. And if you can imagine that there's an opening in the top of the head, enough for imagine you're breathing through the crown or the top of the head, breathing in through the body, and the breath is moving through every part, right to the tip of the toes, and back up again. And as we rest here, just noticing how you are right now, however that is, just again inviting the question, how am I doing? How am I? Is the mind settling a little maybe, or maybe not? Can you sense the breath as if it's coming in through the crown and moving through the entire body? And maybe when we take the next in-breath in this way, we might just kind of incline our intention towards the idea that we're bringing the quality of kindness or care with the breath through our bodies, offering that the breath of kindness to every cell, every muscle, every organ in our body. And as we breathe out, that we offer that intention to everyone here, just to wish everyone well, everyone kindness and ease, And then when we take in the breath, that we're taking in that breath of kindness and self-care and ease towards ourself. And then breathing out that intention to others here. And nothing is forced. You may not feel that's something you can do, and that's fine. There's no problem there either. Just what feels right for you right now, whatever that is. Maybe just enough to feel your body and slow down the busy mind, which would be fantastic if that happens. And if it doesn't, just being aware that the mind sometimes is so busy, it takes time to slow it down, and that's okay. So taking a couple of minutes in your own space, you may like to just be as you are, or kind of breathing in that breath of kindness through the body and breathing out to others here and loved ones in your life, wishing people well and to be at ease, and wishing them kindness toward themselves and breathing in kindness for yourself. Just maybe gently playing with that a little for the next couple of minutes for yourself. And the mind wanders, it's great to notice that and just bringing it back if you want to. Breathing in that kindness and breathing out that care and kindness towards others. Just as I come back in to kind of offer a poem, as I often do near the end of the practice. This is called Perfect by Rachel Halstead, who lives in West Cork. You can't make it perfect. Life has a habit of popping up to remind you of impermanence. Be graceful in letting go and releasing that perfect dream. Let yourself come gently down to reality, to how it really is, and to the constant change that happens whatever we do. Set your feet on the ground again and let yourself flow with the earth's turning. There is no perfection but this dance with all its colors. Nothing to do but the living and letting go of every moment. Set your feet on the ground again and let yourself flow with the earth's turning. There is no perfection but this dance with all its colors. Nothing to do but the living and letting go of every moment. Just allowing those words to drop in wherever they do or they don't. So in a couple of moments, I will begin to bring the practice to a close. That is the formal guiding. I always invite you at home or wherever you are to stay resting for another while, if that's possible. If you need to get up to do something, make sure you do it slowly, stretching your body, making sure your limbs are nicely warmed and flexible before you move suddenly. And just if you're lying down, that you turn on your side and have a good stretch. And just to say that during your week, maybe you take moments in your day to take these pauses, tune into the breath. And if you're out for a walk, take pauses and use the senses of smell and visuals to see colors. And all of these practices bring us into the present moment, and they soothe us, our nervous system. And maybe taking moments in your week, maybe one every day of one thing you may be grateful for in your day, if you can. And again, the effect of this is it can incline the attention away from negativity or fear into a kind of a positive space. And only nothing is forced. It's just taking a moment, one thing in the middle of challenge of this life you may be grateful for. But certainly taking pauses in your day to rest, to come into the present moment, to step out of the busyness, and to ask yourself, how am I doing today? What do I need right now? Do I need to rest? Do I need to phone a friend? Do I need to go for a walk? Do I need to eat something nourishing? And just, it's really important to check in with ourselves. So I'm just going to invite you to just stay where you are, and I'll end the practice myself. I have a little bell here, but I don't know that anyone can ever hear it over the computer, but you might hear just a little tinny sound. Just